Go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the power. Screw green bean. Damn it. But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing some. Go Jets.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls.
Freeze run.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.
Welcome to Talkin' Jets. It's the inmates running the asylum. What's going on? Matt O'Leary and Green Bean. Ryan's at his Christmas party, so it's the two of us rocking tonight. Green Bean, how's it going, my friend?
Oh, it's going to be great. I love how you put that. The inmates running the asylum, right? Me and Matt, like we feel, right? Like we're kids, like the parents went away. We got the whole house to ourselves. You know, that's how it feels.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels like, we're supposed to be being watched right now when we're not. And maybe we go off the rails even more than usual tonight, Bean. I feel like it's free house. We can do whatever we want.
I feel the exact same way. And I'm excited about it, man. You see, last time we did this, 4 or 5 months, maybe 4 months, something like that. A few months back. It was a blast.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. We miss Ryan, and there's a chance he checks in from his Christmas party, so we might get a banged up Ryan at some point. If not, it's gonna be me, Green Bean, and the chat. I'm excited to get into this one. Obviously, you guys can send in any super chats or questions you want answered tonight. But Bean, I think we have to start with this game against Miami from Sunday. A real stinker, as I put it in the title.
A stinker. I know, right? What a great word to use. We stink. You know what's funny, Matt? And I'm real curious to see where you how this has evolved. I mean, it's funny because it's Tuesday. The game was 2 days ago. And amazingly, somehow from Sunday afternoon around 4:00 to today, I feel like what we all watched the exact same thing. What we saw has somehow evolved into an entirely different game. Brady Cook being the centerpiece to what I'm talking about here. Now, I'm going to tell you, I watched a young player, and I'll start with this, though. I didn't have expectations otherwise, right? He's an undrafted free agent quarterback for a reason, right? He's got some positives, which is why he's on an NFL practice squad. But there's a reason he's an undrafted free agent. And you kind of throw him in midweek. He's not really getting starter reps. And so he's got to play in the second quarter. You can't expect too much. Now, I know that lots of Jets fans, being crazy as we are, they've been talking about Brady Cook. Trust me, Brady Cook, man, he's going to light it up. And I don't know where you guys come up with this shit, like where we get the ideas, the basis for our opinions sometimes. But okay. But going into the game, my expectations for him were pretty low, although I did have a sneaking suspicion that he was going to play. They were talking about him a lot. All of a sudden, it's like, all right, this guy's playing. We didn't know Tyrod Taylor's swollen groin was quite as swollen as we thought. But so Brady Cook, to me, though, again, expectations low, played like dog shit to me. Right now, that doesn't mean that he didn't have some throws that I thought were really nice. The one to A.D. Mitchell on the right sideline was gorgeous. A few others. The pass to Mechie that would have been a touchdown was beautiful, perfect. And one of the things we watch with our quarterbacks, Matt, no matter what their name is, could be Tim Boyle, could be Sam Darnold, could be Zach Wilson, could be fucking Aaron Rodgers. For whatever reason, they like to throw it behind the receiver. We see our receivers having to stop mid-route all the time, whether it's a crosser, whether it's a fly. It doesn't matter. They got to stop, because we like to do that. That pass that Mechie dropped was gorgeous. It was perfect, right? It was perfect. Exactly where he needed it to be, to just keep running, to keep, he could have kept his pace, the whole thing. Walk-in touchdown. He drops it, so, whatever. But aside from a few throws, I thought Brady Cook looked like shit. Now, again, I didn't expect otherwise, so I'm not throwing stones at him. I'm just saying maybe, this one, okay, you got your first game in the books. Let's see how you progress and how you develop here. Okay, I'm in. I'm rooting for you. But I can't have this revisionist history that's like, if the receivers woulda, he was perfect. Like I didn't see that game, Matt. I don't know where you stand on this, but I don't know. I didn't watch that game.
No, I didn't either. And I feel like you kind of, and you didn't even bring this up, but he also had 2 fumbles. Now, thankfully, they recovered both of them. But he dropped 2 snaps, which is happens sometimes, right? But usually it's out of the shotgun and it's high and the quarterback's jumping for it, or he 2-hops it to the quarterback and something silly happens. That wasn't the case with either one of those. So I think if you're going to talk about the Mechie drop, which is totally fair, there were 6 drops in this game, which is far too many. It was definitely frustrating. The receivers were not good enough. All that being true, I think you nailed it, because my expectations for Brady Cook were fairly low going into this game. He's been a quarterback 3 the entire year. We only saw him in the preseason. He was okay in the preseason. He wasn't stellar. He wasn't horrible. He was okay. And he came in to his credit, in a tough spot, right? This was the first time he was elevated to QB2. Quarterback gets hurt. You're already down 21-0. Obviously have to throw to get back into the game. Not easy circumstances. Maybe it looks different if he starts the game from square one. But I was surprised when I did my video this morning on my evaluation of Brady Cook and mentioned those things, that I got the amount of pushback that I did. And it feels like that more Jets fans than not disagree with our take on Brady Cook, which really surprised me.
Yeah. So it's funny too. I'm commenting right now to Jimmy Jets. You said, did you see those snaps? They were shit. I don't know, Jimmy. I just can't. Myers has been snapping all year to not only just one quarterback. He's snapping to Justin Fields. He's snapping to Tyrod Taylor. None of them have fumbled a snap. The undrafted free agent rookie comes in, and on his 4th play or whatever it was, he fumbles a snap. I'm not a genius, I'm not, I don't, and I can't, my math skills are low, all kinds of deficiencies I have. I don't know, man. 2 and 2 still equal 4 where I come from, Matt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know what? We're just at a point in the season, Bean, where I did not think we'd have Brady Cook truthers at this point, right? It was bad enough with the Zach truthers and the Justin Fields truthers, and there's some even Brady Cook truthers out there, which just goes to show. And I think it's something that you bring up a lot, and it's so true. Everyone's favorite quarterback on the Jets is the one that they haven't seen play yet. And then you see him play and you go, oh, shit. Okay,
shit.
Great.
He sucks too.
Yeah, Matt is a good example of that.
Well, and it's the same mentality that supports our intense and passionate love affair with the NFL draft. It's because it's the hypothetical. It's the philosophical. Who doesn't love the philosophical, where you can make up anything you want and it's just as true as what the other guy's making up? And then you can argue hypothetical points back and forth till the cows come home. And at the end of the day, there's no proof of anything. That's why we love it so much. We talk about prospects and we hypothesize about, the potential trades and the values. And it's so fun because there's nobody that can tell you you're wrong. I mean, they can, but you can argue it.
But we don't know. Yeah.
We don't know. It's why we love it so much. I'm telling you, that's what it is. Because when you look at a game, at the end of the day, it's like, well, he threw 2 picks or whatever. You're like, yeah, I mean, you can argue about maybe why and what happened on, But the truth is he did it. He threw, like, it becomes real factual. Like, numbers don't lie is what I'm looking for there, you know? Once you get to the numbers don't lie. So it becomes more difficult. And sadly for us, when we do get into the factual, it's an ugly, grim place. We don't have a good reality, which is why we like our fantasy so much.
Oh, and don't worry, we will definitely be getting into fantasy land at some point tonight, talking NFL draft. We do have a couple super chats that I want to get to, and we'll get back to some stuff on this game. First one, James points out Fields did fumble a snap against the Patriots, he is correct, and that one proved to be costly. But for the most part, I would say that Josh Myers has been pretty good at center. No, fair take, B.
When did he fumbled a snap? I don't remember that. When did that happen? Was that early? I don't remember.
No, it was late in the game. It pretty much gift wrapped them another possession to go up 2 scores.
All right. Still, I still maintain my point here. But yeah, man. And look, it's not, this is the funny thing. I know that people are hearing right now that I hate Brady Cook or that I'm out on Brady Cook. I'm not, none of those things. It's like when we do the game streams, Matt, like people tell us sometimes, me and Jeremy and Frankie and Dom, whoever's there, and they say, why are you guys so negative? And it's like, dude, we're down 24-6 in the fourth quarter. I don't know what fuck I can make out of this. Like, but it's like if you give me, 2 onions and a block of cheese and ask me to fucking make you a lasagna, like I'm not going to be able to do that. It's like it is what it is, man.
Especially this past week too, man. You were down 21-0 before you basically settled in and finished your first drink watching the game. It was, and maybe that's another thing. But before we get back into these super chats, I was appalled by the Jets defense in this game. The Dolphins ran at will against this defense, and they had zero answer for them. Zero answer. And I think this game really highlighted one positional group in particular. I mean, there were a lot of issues, but the linebacker play was just downright atrocious in this one, Bean.
Yeah. And you're 100% right. Like this was the game that really showed us, like, not that we haven't had examples or, all that over the past number of years, but and even this year, but this game particularly showed you how incredibly weak we really are, at the linebacker position. And we talk about it all the time. Guys like Quincy Williams have talent. Right. Quincy Williams, Sherwood. Obviously, there's some other guys in there, but those are the guys out front. Even in our nickel, those are the guys on the field. So Quincy Williams has so much talent. And when he's on, he's so good, man. Like, he really can be. He's fast and he hits like a ton of bricks sometimes. But then there are games where he looks like he's just running around. You know what I mean? He's just not having it in. And this was one of those games. Now, what's really crazy about it, and this is, I'd love to open this can with you. I just did a live stream before the show, and we started to a little bit. But this is the thing. The week before, you saw the narrative changing around here a little bit. Like, so we beat Atlanta, and finally, there was a little bit of positive talk about Aaron Glenn. Now, it maybe started the week before that a little bit, but last week, if you listen to the, WFAN or you put on SNY, there was a narrative shift. And it just, people started saying, hey, maybe Aaron Glenn is doing a better job than we were previously thinking. The players are still playing hard. They lost most of their, leadership. Garrett Wilson's not on the field. They're the quarterback that they thought they were going to be playing, he's gone. Braylon Allen's been hurt all, the larger some of the year. We traded Sauce and Michael Carter and Quinnen Williams. So the fact that this cast of no names, rookies and all that, they're playing really hard and they're competing and they're hanging. Like, that was the narrative this week, and it started to shift. And somehow, because people are pissed that we're winning and ruining the tank, right? So this is all kind of tying together here. So if you're mad that we're winning, quote, meaningless games, which I totally get 100%, I'm right there with you. The meaningless game thing that the Jets do every single year. So we're mad about that. The narrative shifts, and the positive that we're tying to this, Matt, is that this chair. Sorry. The narrative that we're tying to it is that it's good for the culture, right? That these guys got to learn how to win. It's good for the young guys. Like, that's what we're talking about. And then to follow it with this game that, just like you said, before we even realized we turned the game on, it's 21-0. It was like, what the fuck? What just happened? So immediately now it's like, well, what happened to the culture? What happened to all this positive vibes? What happened to them playing hard? If Glenn can't get him to do that, then maybe he does suck the big balls and all this kind of shit. But here's what happened. And here's why it's an incredible positive. You ready for this, Matt?
Let's hear it.
This season is, I know Jets fans, a lot of us had this idea that, we're going to be better than you think. And okay, great. We learned early that that's not the case. What this season really is there's a couple things going on. Number one, you have a rookie head coach who's learning how to be a head coach, right? That's what happens when you hire rookie head coaches and you don't have a quarterback in the house. So that's what he's doing. He's learning on the job. We've seen it as much as any team in the league. We're the fans that know what this looks like better than anybody. So you got a head coach who's learning how to be a head coach. Meanwhile, you have an offensive coordinator who's doing the same thing and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to figure out this offense, the team. We're also evaluating players. We're trying to see who's going to really be a part of this thing, and name recognition and contract status and money that you're getting. All that is no longer going to be the reason we keep somebody, because your name is Sauce Gardner. That means that you're obviously a part of the long-term plans. We saw them make those tough calls and jettison. Dude, really, I would say the two names on defense that outside of the Jets circle were the most well-known on this team. Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, right? On our defense, there's nobody that carries the weight that they did. Yep. We traded both of them. Why? Because they weren't a part of they weren't a part of the long-term plans, not because they're not talented or anything like that, but because of other reasons. Aaron Glenn is looking for, if you're going to be the leader on this team, if you're going to be the big name and you're going to get the big contract and all this kind of shit, you got to do more than your job. That's what a leader has to carry. You have to inspire. You got to be vocal. You got to be the guy that when the going gets tough, you're still the one playing at 110%. So the guys around you see that the leader didn't quit. Those kinds of things. And that's the shit that a leader, Sauce Gardner, God bless him, say what you want. He's fantastic. He's a soft-spoken guy. He's mellow. He's mild. Quinnen Williams, same thing. They're just not able to do that. So, Aaron Glenn decided, and Mooj and everybody, that we're gonna move on from these guys. So now you have this young collection of guys, Matt. And again, here's why it's positive. One of the things that you have to learn how to do as a rookie head coach, and when we say learn how to win, these guys got to learn how to win. It's not as simple as learning how to win a game. It's learning how to respond when you do win. Robert Saleh's teams, how many win streaks did we go on in Robert Saleh's 4 years here?
Did they have any?
I mean, the only one I can...
22.
That's it. I would say the only one I can think of was 2022 when we managed to get up to, we think we were 7-4 at one point or something like that. 7-3, something like that. So we went on a streak then, and then we've counteracted that with a really impressive losing streak, which we didn't win one more game. But how many? It's like they're so few and far between. Why? Why is it that Robert Saleh in his 4 years here, and Todd Bowles had the same problem, Adam Gase had the same problem, even Rex had this problem. When they win a game, they do this thing that we like to call they're reading their own press clippings, right? The narrative shifted this week. Things weren't so negative. There was some positive vibes going around and all that kind of shit. And the Jets showed up to the Miami game and got punched square in the fucking chops. And it took them the entire first quarter to, like, think about them in a boxing ring. They walked into the fight and the first punch knocked them for a loop. It took them the whole first round. They just had to get through it to get their bearings, to kind of get their feet underneath them and kind of go, holy shit, we're in a game. Now, the good news is the rest of the game, Miami didn't keep that pace up. They figured it out and they slowed it down. I mean, there was 21-0 at one point, I think. And then
the 10 more points after
the final score, right? So
or 13, whatever.
Yeah, so they figured it out and they slowed it down and all that shit. Not offensively, they didn't, but defensively. So the other part of this, guys, is they have to figure out how to win a game and actually keep that going. Consistency. Aaron Glenn doesn't know how to do it from the head coaching position. He's never done this before. The players are all young and there's a hodgepodge. You got Malachi Moore and A.Z. Thomas playing with fucking Isaiah Oliver and Mawagoa. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's going on right now. Half of the guys on the defense weren't even names we knew when week 1 started. When we were in the stadium going, yay, we never even heard of these guys. It was Tony Adams and you know what I mean, or whoever. But they have to figure this out. Now, the great thing is that Aaron Glenn now has the opportunity to do this during a season when it's already shit. It's already a wash. It's already an evaluation season. This came up now. So it's good. It's a positive thing. Not that we lost or whatever, but it's a good thing that we're actually going through this. We can learn and address and try to figure out one more thing during this season when we're not going anywhere anyway. That was a lot. I talked a long time there, man. Wow.
You did, but I was locked in. I was locked in. Well, I would like to add to that is I think in a negative, if you're looking for a positive spin from a negative from this game, you have, for example, we talked about the linebackers earlier. Quincy Williams is a free agent. You're probably going, you know what? We're all good here. Good Jet. It was a nice story. He turned it around, but doesn't make sense and fit in this scheme. They unfortunately paid Jamie Sherwood a lot of money, and he does not look good in this scheme either. I think he looks small. He, the speed isn't quite there from what it was. And maybe you want to put that on coaching, but I don't think he's a fit for this scheme. And you can argue why'd you pay him, but I think their thought was this is someone who was an ascending player and you want to buy, the ascension. And that hasn't been the case this year. He's taken a step back. And you bring up the defense and these no-name guys, like how many of these players on defense are going to be playing for them next year? You're probably looking at a new starting safety. I hope you're looking at 2 new starting linebackers. You need another edge rusher. You need another interior defensive lineman. And like there's some pieces there, but the talent deficiency is an issue. And I think even with the problems they have with the roster on defense, I also think Steve Wilks is a problem. I don't think it makes sense to bring him back next year. I get it. You wanted the veteran, right? You hire a young offensive coordinator, a young special teams coordinator, and you needed some sort of veteran on the staff. I totally understand that. But you don't have to then double down on it. You can say, you know what? We tried it. It didn't work out. I'm going into year 2. I feel a little bit more comfortable. I don't need this vet who's been there and the head coach, the whole thing. And we're going to go a different direction. And I think that's also something they clearly need to change.
Yeah. Now, realistically, though, do you think? I mean, in his presser yesterday, I mean, he wasn't necessarily. Well, I guess he kind of was. He gave Wilks a vote of confidence. I mean, he talked about how much he respects him, how much he believes in him, and he also said, it's not as simple as one guy. You know what I mean? Oh, well. It's one guy. Like Aaron Glenn talked like that in his presser. I mean, do you think if you had to put a percentage on it, you're a wagering fella. Sure. You know about the odds and all that shit. If you had to put like a percentage on it, realistically, where would you say Wilks getting fired stands?
like 40%, like slightly favored for him to come back and just no change. Even though like I don't agree with that, I would definitely move on from him. But based on some of the things that he said, I could understand why right now the thought is, he's giving him the vote of confidence. Maybe they just say this whole year's a wash and let's try again next year. So I'd say slightly ahead that they would keep him, then move on. But I don't think it's like 90% he's coming back and 10% he's gone. I think there's a decent enough chance that they could move on from him.
Yeah, I gotta shoot straight with everybody, man. Like I think I liked how you said that it's tilted toward him staying. I agree. I think a lot of people feel confidently that it's tilted the other way. I don't think so. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, because the truth is I didn't love the Steve Wilks hire in the first place. He's good, right? Like he's quality. Obviously, he keeps getting hired. He's had some good defenses. He was even, he earned and got a head coaching job. Granted, very short.
Was.
But that all said, like he's been here because he can do the job. He's a respected guy in the field and all that. But there's also the other side to that, is that he doesn't stay anywhere too long.
No.
He's kind of a one-year wonder, so to speak, over and over and over again, which is kind of crazy. So I didn't like the hire in the first place, but I understood it because the rest of our crew of coaches was all noobs. You know what I mean?
Yep,
like
they're first timers.
You got to have somebody in here that kind of knows the ropes, so to speak. So I did understand that. And if that's the place that he's going to do it, I like that, because he's defense. And if shit gets too crazy, he could step in. So I was like, okay, I get it. And I'm in. But that all said, I think like we know Wilks' ceiling, like we know what he is. It's never going to be, I think it's a long shot to think that he's going to be the guy that, as we start to bring in our players, like the Aaron Glenn players, and that goes free agency and the draft, as we start to assemble Aaron Glenn's team, do I realistically think that Steve Wilks is going to be the guy at the helm?
No.
That creates this, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Matt.
No, I don't buy it either. I don't think he's long for the job. So I would rather just rip the Band-Aid off and go, it didn't work this year. We understand. It's not all on you, because the roster isn't great, but let's try to turn the corner here. That would be my thought on it as well.
Yeah. No, so, and just to kind of talk about that for another minute here, when you look at the potential replacements, like, Aaron Glenn might want to keep him around. If you're going to keep him around, the problem there is you're going to now be limited in who you hire, because you can't bring somebody that's completely contrary, like, the antithesis. You just can't, because now he's still in the room. So you got the Aaron Glenn voice, the Steve Wilks voice, and then some, young up and comer or whatever you do. You can't have that, the old a house divided, amongst itself can never stand. So you can't start with that. So I don't know. I think there's positives to like keeping Wilks as like not an offensive, but a head coach assistant. But probably if you're going to do it, I think the best thing to do would be to just get rid of him. And that opens it up that you can be a little bit more creative with who you bring in. They don't have to be like of the same line, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Peter S is up next with a super chat, says, like the Gotham City uniforms, but after that stinker, bury them and don't bring them back. I see maybe one more versus the Saints, and they get into the top 5 of the draft. All right.
That's Peter S. Pete Schifani. Okay.
Yeah, it's Peter
so
S.
This is Hudson Valley.
Hudson Valley, baby.
All right, good. That's good to know. I hate. Did YouTube do this on your channel too? Like,
yes, it's the worst.
What is that?
I don't know. We're going usernames now for some reason, which is just super annoying. I didn't really love the Gotham City uniforms. I know everyone, when they first came out, the primary color didn't look green in the photo shoot that they did. And that was my initial reaction. And then I had people in my comments like, it is green. It was just a bad picture. And then I looked, I was like, okay, yeah, it's like a gray green. All right, I'll give you that. Fine. There's some more green in there. And I saw it on the field, and I was like, it was I've seen worse uniforms.
Yeah.
But I'm not running to the store to buy one. How do you feel on it?
I'll expand on this because I have a larger issue, which is I think that the Jets screw us.
This is true.
Right? Like more than just the product on the field. Like they figured out how to keep us engaged and interested all the time. Yet we watch the most disgusting fucking display of football in the league consistently. Like we're embarrassing constantly. So there, aside from that, so there's that, but they raised the ticket price every year. Did you see that Captain Jet is not renewing his season tickets? Did you see that?
Really? No,
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
They raised it to the point, he said, for like the first time, it was a whole article I saw on it. This is the guy, everybody, who wears the jet on his head.
Yeah.
The older guy. He's been around forever. I've met that guy a bunch of times in the parking lot, and he's just such a great dude. And obviously, he's one of us, been around forever. He's committed to the gig. He fucking wears a cape and a jet on his head and the whole thing. And they raised the ticket prices to the point where he said, enough. Enough is enough. I cannot justify paying. I think his one ticket, I think he said is like 2,600 or some shit like that. Jeez. But he only buys one ticket. He sits alone, and anyway, but so he's just kind of the face out front, but this is what they're doing to everybody. Like we have the worst 15 years of abysmal football, and every year they still raise the prices. So I don't like that. The parking's too expensive. They're going after fucking Tailgate Joe and Phil at Jet Nation in the parking lot. I don't like any of this. Yet every year they bring out some new bullshit jersey that we're supposed to go fucking buy. And I hate it. It bothers me. Like I see right through it. Like if it was really this thing that happened every now and again, and it's like super cool and okay, but it's like Color Rush or Classics, and they do every fucking year or every other year. It's new jerseys 5 years ago. Then we get new uniforms. It's just constant. It's a constant money grab, and it bothers me on that level. So I'm going into this tainted, and I know I'm biased, right? Sure. That all said, I think having a sewer on our jersey is not the best start. Whoever fucking, product tested this, and they're like, oh yeah, the sewer, the manhole cover. Like, I don't know, man. What are we trying to do? So we're trying to say that we're gritty and blue collar and all that. Like all this, they're overdoing the messaging, man. Like I hate it. Like it's
less is more.
It's this vibe. This like they're trying too hard. Like, can we just be that rather than we have to put out this facade that we're like gritty and Gotham and fucking Batman? Like, I don't know what it all is. It doesn't make sense to me. Yet the jersey, Jake, I was talking with Jake the other day. I think they're $180 to buy this piece of shit. Now, so there's all that. So I think they're ugly as shit. I don't even like the font of the numbers. I don't like it. But I will say this, so I'm not a complete asshole and I'm not just one-sided. The end zones, I thought looked epic. And I would love to see something like that. Like, why can't they do that? Something cool for us regular. Like, you know what I mean? So I thought the end zones were great with like the city skyline and all that kind of stuff on there. But everything other than that, I think was complete and utter dog shit. And I feel bad for everybody who bought it.
How about the second part of this? Are they getting one more win against the Saints? And where do you think they end up in the draft order?
If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said the Saints were beating the Saints. I did think we were beating the Dolphins, though. So there's that. Okay. I thought we were beating the Dolphins. I knew we were beating Atlanta. I thought we were beating the Dolphins. I thought we were going to beat the Saints. And I thought that because of just division and the end of the season and maybe even resting starters or something I thought we were going to maybe win one of the New England Buffalo close out the season games. I no longer feel that way, particularly the Saints game, because one, Tyler Shock looks like he's putting something together here. And we're a good team for that to continue. You know what I mean? We can be feasted upon. We can. We're ripe, as they say. And the other reason is because I don't feel like Brady Cook's on the same trajectory. So maybe, but I think the Saints are likely to beat us. And here's the weird part about it. That is a double the bang for your buck game as far as the tank goes, the draft, If the Saints win one game and we lose out, we jump them.
Yep.
So that's one team that we jump. So here's what I really want. I want the Titans to beat the Saints, and I want the Saints to beat the Jets. That would take the Titans and Saints and put them out of our neighborhood, and we would catapult past both of those guys. And the only team we'd really have to worry about is the Raiders after that.
Yeah. And, the Raiders play the Giants. So there's a couple of games where teams in front of you are playing against each other. I think the Saints and Titans also play.
Yeah. I want the Titans to beat the Saints. I want the Raiders to beat the Giants. I want the Saints to beat the Jets.
There you go. Maybe the Giants to beat Washington. There's a bunch of different scenarios.
We could get that pick. We could still get there.
There's a small chance, but you absolutely can. I think if Cook is starting, my answer was going to be it depends on who's starting the rest of the way. If they get Tyrod back, I think he could maybe win one more game. Brady Cook, I don't have that same optimism. If they finish 4-13, I think you're probably looking at the 6th pick. If they lose out and finish 3-14, maybe that's pick 3 or 4. And, one, you're going to get a good player there. Number two, if you do want to trade up, which we'll get into with the next question here, it's less of a jump from 7 all the way up to number 1, which feeds perfectly into Rafi's question, who says, with Mendoza likely going first overall, what do you think it would take for the Jets to trade up to get him? And he's saying, assuming they get the pick 6th or 7th. So I ask you, one, did you watch Fernando Mendoza against Ohio State? And what do you think of a trade up for him?
Well, as you know, I chatted a little bit about it when the games were happening. I had both games on, but I was laser focused on the UVA game. That's a game that I was trying to watch.
That's your team, by the way, as you should be.
Yeah. So, my team was playing, and the week before we beat Tech and I ran on the field. No, I wasn't part of the original rush, but I was in the upper deck and I went downstairs and I ran on the field, and I'm all caught up in the excitement of UVA. So watching them play a team that they beat earlier in the season in Duke for the ACC championship and then going into the playoffs, I was really excited about that. So I had the Ohio State game on, and I wanted to be engaged in that game. I really did, but I couldn't do it. I just couldn't pull my attention over enough. So that said, and I even remember I sent that text maybe toward the end of the first half, and I said, I'm not really focused on it, but is Mendoza having a rough game? And you guys were all like, no. So I did watch some to answer the question. I watched some. And then I watched some highlights the next day and all that jazz. So I didn't ingest it in the way that a lot of you guys did, being focused on the game and all that. Here's the thing, though. I think what I like about Mendoza is that he's not known for this big rocket arm. He's got his arm's fine, right? It's fine. But it's not like with Zach or even Trey Lance when they were coming out oh my God, his fucking arm strength is through the roof. And I don't. So it's not that, but he's kind of known for his accuracy and his leadership. The team is around him. They're really bought in. But what I like about him is that he seems to be a guy who finds a way to win. That's what I like about him.
Gamer.
He's a gamer, right? That's the word. He's a gamer. And for me, we haven't had a gamer in here in a long time. Now A-Rod was, but not for us. He was actually the opposite for us. He was kind of very Testaverde-esque before he was here. Like Testaverde was known, with all the other, with the Browns and with the Ravens and with the Bucks. He was like this. He would have a fucking great game and then he would he was a choker. Like the last 4 minutes of the game, it was like, take him out. Like that's what you wanted. Let him play the first, 56 minutes of a game and then pull him. He was known for that. So I feel like Mendoza might have that gamer in him, which I think is really, really important and something I think is valuable. So that all collected, I think that he's definitely worth trading up for, but there's a limit. Like there's a price. Like when you walk into a burger shop and they go, look, the burger's going to be $30. You're like, I don't care how good it is. I'm not paying $30 for your, whatever. I feel like, Matt, like for me, depending on where I am, but like if I'm at pick 7 and to get up to 1 means I got to give you my first, obviously my pick 7, and then the Colts pick is at 13. So so I'll give you my 2 firsts, and then I can give you like a mid-round pick on top of that, like some sort of, mid 4th, 5th, 6th, something like that. If it's more than that, if they're like, look, we want your 2 firsts this year and a first next year, like I'm out. Yeah. That's just me. And again, I haven't dug in yet. It's where I am today. I'm not willing to give up 3 firsts. I don't have that kind of confidence in him yet. It might change, but I think that's where I am. I think there's a limit to where I am on him, but I'm also deficient.
I think for me, it's in whatever year. Obviously, it would be pick 6, 7, or wherever you are. But I think it's that pick, a second and a first is what I would do. And you could do it either year. You could do it this year where you have the 2 second-round picks and 3 ones next year. Or if you do the reverse of it where it's, the first round pick this year, so the Jets pick, the Colts pick, and then a second round next year, at least with the 3 picks you have in the 2027 draft, you could probably move down from at 1, if not more of those picks, and recoup that value anyway. So I think that's my limit, is obviously the swap of the picks, a first round pick and a second round pick. I think if we're talking about, like you said, both 1s this year and a 1 next year, that's probably too rich for me.
Now, would it be next year's second or this year's second? Like, are you willing to give up your 2 firsts and a second this year?
I would like to split it over the 2 years. So like have either, like I laid out. So if it's both firsts this year, then you still have the 3 ones in your second round pick next year. And like,
I got you.
That's fine. Or if it's the flip and it's the second this year and the 1 next year, and you go into next year with only 2 first round picks, then you're going, okay, I could trade back and get more in doing that.
Yeah. And now look, in the moment, if you're that close, like, so you're willing to give up multiple firsts and all that, and you got them, they're willing to give you the guy, the pick, and you're that close, and you're looking at a second round pick, and maybe you can say, I'll give you my second if you give me a 5th, like something back. I think in the moment you probably pull the trigger, like you're that close. So again, I have a lot of work to do on the quarterbacks. Like I didn't even start yet. I'm just looking at stuff and, I got to really dig in, but I think Mendoza has a real good chance to be a success. I'm not sold. I heard it. I heard a discussion. I forget where it was. I had like YouTube on and it was just, I have the autoplay thing. So, I just let it go. So like when I'm like doing something, I'll just let it play. And I forget who was saying it, but they were having a discussion about Mendoza's, like his leadership style. Like he's hokey, right? It's kind of corny. And so, you know what I mean? So their concern was that while that's fine in Indiana, in New York, when the pressure cooker of this place, his particular way about him might have the exact opposite kind of impact, like where people are kind of looking at him as kind of a corny and fraud, like not fraud, that's a strong word, but you know what I mean, like that it would be a negative here, and that very quickly, especially if it takes him a minute to get it going. I mean, you know how we are. If he comes out and he struggles for 3 weeks,
it's going to get loud.
It's going to get loud. And can his act kind of keep the team engaged? You know what I mean? He runs the risk of losing the team and losing the fan base and all that. So I don't know. I just heard that discussion. So that's something I really got to look into as well. I don't know how accurate. How do you feel about that? Like, do you feel like, the way that he holds himself would be a negative?
He is a little, like, I think nerdy or corny is the word. In a lot of his not press conferences, but like post-game interviews, he gets very animated, and he comes, I'm not saying like that there's anything wrong with this, but he's obviously very religious, and he brings that up a lot in his post-game conversations with the sideline reporter. And I think that's where some people are bringing up the corny things that are here saying, but I almost think the opposite. Like, I don't know, don't they pray after every game? Like, you always see the guys kneeling at midfield, praying together with the opposing teams and stuff like that. I don't really think that would be an issue in an NFL locker room. I think that'd be really more of like a, talking heads conversation than it would actually be an issue in the room.
Yeah. All right. So like, that's something I just got to look at, because that's one of the things, like, I say it all the time. It's very important to me that the brass, whoever's making our decisions, whether it's 𝐒𝐿𝐲 for real or if it's really Aaron Glenn and that collective, whoever it is, they need to start factoring in that we are the Jets, right? Like I say that all the time. Like, so whether that's, having more depth at positions because we're likely to get injured, just always factor in when you're building this team that we are the Jets. And so when you look at a Mendoza, please factor that in, that if the going gets rough, his makeup, is it gonna work here? Can he withstand the unrealistic expectations of not only our fan base, but the press and the national media, how they attack us? We get attacked more than from the outside. I mean, look, you saw, what the fuck was that guy? Somebody, who was it? Like, for the Browns, they got an award and he said something about the Jets. Like,
in Jared Allen's.
Yeah.
It was like with the Vikings, I think.
Yeah, it's right. And he's like, yeah, like the loser Jets or something. It's like, dude, that's who we are. And if you can pretend that's not the case all you want, but we're the center of the fucking NFL universe for right or wrong or good or bad or whatever. They like having us to beat on, man. They like us being the butt of the joke. They like it. And so, you got Diana Rossini out there. If this kid has anything in his past, you know what I mean?
It's coming up.
Yeah. If your mother ever did anything wrong, she's going to dig it out. And because they're looking for that shit with us. So we just got to make sure. That's where my concern is. I just got to make sure. That all aside, I definitely think he's going to be quarterback one. I definitely think he's the first overall pick. And I definitely think if the Jets can get him, do it. And I definitely think he's worth trading up for.
Going a different direction, but Blitz Crew says, if Raheem Morris gets fired, thoughts on him as a DC? I don't know about Raheem Morris, but I will tell you the guy who would be number one on my list. And that's Jim Leonhard. And he's working in Denver as an assistant DC and assistant head coach. Clearly, the Jets have a good relationship with Denver. Darren Muji from there. Aaron Glenn and Sean Payton get along very well. They got Chris Banjo from there. He's a former Jet, so obviously knows the area well and the team and how all that works. To me, he would be my number one target.
Yeah, I got to say, though, Raheem Morris would not be a bad get.
No,
You know, I wouldn't be if they said tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but like at this offseason, we've fired Steve Wilkes and hired Raheem Morris. I'd be like,
it's an upgrade.
okay.
Yeah.
You'd feel like it's an upgrade, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think I'm on the Jim Leonard train too. I mean, I got to really look at what he's accomplished, but just on the surface, I mean, he's doing well. He's doing good things. And like you said, there's just so many ties that it makes sense. And he was great for us. I mean, you know, when Rex got here, he made two moves, right? Right out of the gate. He went to Bart Scott's house. You remember this, guys?
Yes.
He went to Bart Scott's house. The day free agency opened, Rex Ryan was knocking on Bart Scott's actual home door. And then he went and got Jim Leonard. And obviously Bart Scott was the bigger deal. We were all excited about it. We were hoping, I don't know if you remember this, but on the message boards, there was a real legitimate belief that Rex was going to bring Ray Lewis with him.
I remember.
I remember going, I don't know, man. He's Baltimore. Baltimore's never letting him go. Like, he is the Baltimore Ravens. You know what I mean? But we got Bart Scott, and he was a fiery son of a bitch in his own right. So I was really happy with that, but that was a big deal. Jim Leonard was a little bit kind of quieter and not seen as big of a deal, but he was really the captain of the defense. And he ran the show because even back then they talked about how incredibly smart football wise he was. So I don't know. I think, I think that would be a very, very solid move. And it would also be like another feel goody kind of thing, which doesn't take precedence, but when you throw it in the mix, I think is really good. Having Aaron Glenn and Jim Leonard, and that would be good. That would be a good thing for me.
I'm in on it. I like that one.
Go get Victor Green, Matt. You know,
yeah, Victor Green. There we go. Random, but one of my guys, Eric Barton in the early 2000s.
Yeah, man. Bring them all in.
Sean Ellis, my GOAT.
Oh, that's your boy right there.
Love me some Sean Ellis. Nose kills. This is great. Says the midfield logo was painted with that same manhole covered pattern the unis had. Would have been appropriate for the team to exit through it after the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Just go full Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and go right under the manhole cover.
Yeah, they should have had like a graphic, like did you ever see like the virtual reality thing where like the Ravens and the bird comes in? You ever see that?
Yep.
We should have did something like that, with like a manhole cover opening on set, at the 50-yard line, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out of there or something. We should have did something, had some fun with it. But yeah, that's good. Nose kills. I would have liked that. I just can't believe that. Like, who is in the Jets, like the marketing department or whatever, and they said, yeah, like manhole cover.
They got to hire a fan to like just vet these.
Totally.
Things, right? And be like, hey, does this make sense? And you'd be like, I don't know if that's the vibe you want to go for.
Actually. Yeah, you got a bunch of suits in the room. Like, here's the thing. The Jets fans, they pride themselves on being complete shitbags and loudmouth drunk hooligans. You know what I mean? Yeah. A manhole cover really epitomizes sewers. That's what we're going for. The sewers. We're always at the bottom. Where it's like, kind of think sludge, toxic waste, dog shit. Yeah. Like, think about that. It's the Jets.
Come on. It's so easy. It's so easy.
It's crazy. It really is, man. It's ridiculous.
Blitzcrew says Myers better at snapping than Tippmann in shotgun. I agree with this. And I think this opens up another conversation just on the offensive line in general. Joe Tippmann clearly under contract for next year. I think you keep him at guard. And whether you want to bring Myers back or upgrade it with Tyler Linderbaum or take someone in the draft or bring Myers back or whatever, I think you kind of found your position. I wouldn't mess with Joe Tippmann anymore.
No, I'm good. But I look, and we talk about Linderbaum, right? As a big free agent guy. Are you on board? Like, if the Jets are able to grab Linderbaum, are you good with bringing Linderbaum in, re-signing Myers, maybe depth, and then you got Tippmann at guard for the foreseeable, like just like you said, Tippmann, you're a guard. You good with that?
Yes, 100%.
Now, how realistic, honestly, be honest, how realistic do you think it is that, remember, free agency precedes the draft? How realistic do you think it is that the Jets free agent signing is Linderbaum?
I have my doubts about him actually hitting the market. Right. I think that's the first start. If he hits the market, it would not shock me to see the Jets try to spend big there. So to me, it's really either Baltimore just re-signs him, he never gets to the market, or he does, and the Jets go, yeah, we'll make you the highest paid center. We have no problem with that.
I think that, you know, what's so funny, man. Like I did think that Baltimore would try to retain him, but like you just said, it like hit me in the chest. I think that's probably the way it's going to go. Like, and why wouldn't he want to stay there too? Like, that's an organization. Granted, they're struggling a bit this year, but even them struggling looks like a team the Jets are trying to be. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like being able to court, like, let's say he does make it to free agency for a moment. So he gets to free agency. The Ravens are in the mix, but he wants to test free agency. He wants to see what his market is and all thing. We're not going to be the only team calling. So there's that. And you got to walk up to Linderbaum and his team, and you got to say, look, we want you to come here. We blah, blah, blah. We love you, everything else. He's going to ask a couple of questions. Probably one at the front. Who's the quarterback that I'll be snapping to?
Yeah, that matters a little bit.
Dude, I don't know what we can tell him. Like, unless we've already traded for the number one pick, and then you can say definitively, we can't tell you who it is because of the dynamics of the draft and everything, but we're taking a quarterback and whatever. If whatever you got to do, that could be something. But other than that, man, you're going to have to get this guy to sign on the dotted line with not only not having a quarterback here, but the history of anybody we bring in here sucks. And that includes Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? We're going to have to overpay offensive free agents. I mean, if they're somebody that teams want, like a high profile free agent, we're going to have to be paying the Jets tax this year. I think it's sad to say, but that $100 million is going to go real quick, in my opinion.
It is, but the rebuttal to that, or the pushback that I would give you on it, would be they have the money to do that this year. They're not going to be strapped for cash as much as they were maybe the last 2 years. So
yeah,
you got to pick and choose your spots. I don't want to see them go a full 2019 McCagnon off season, but if you saw like Linderbaum's 26 years old and getting his first free agent contract, like that's someone who could be here and be good for the next 5 years. We're not talking about bringing in a Mike Williams or a Tyron Smith or, Le'Veon Bell at the end of his career.
Ugh. Remember that, man? You remember how, what's so funny about that one? Ryan, our buddy Ryan, who right now, by the way, is tilting back. What's Ryan drinking? Is he a whiskey guy like us?
I think he likes the seltzers usually.
That's right. He's a White Claw guy. That's right, Matt. He likes the seltz. So right now, our buddy Ryan is tipping back a White Claw. You remember when we signed Le'Veon Bell? I know of no other human being that was more excited than Ryan was. Ryan made that video. He was losing his marbles. That was an exciting night. Remember when Le'Veon Bell made us wait all night?
Yeah, the album came out.
Yeah, the release of his album. Oh my God. Crazy shit. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to be able it really does. It comes down to our quarterback plan. Like, I know people are saying, oh, just, wait till 2027. I don't think we can, man. Like, I mean, obviously nothing is finite, right? But I don't know, man. I don't know if Aaron Glenn could withstand another year of like piss poor, below average quarterback play to the tune of, 5-7 wins. I don't know, man. And I don't know who we're going to be able to attract here without that plan figured out. Like, if this is really going to turn around, Like it's gotta happen. Like this is bullshit at this point.
No, it is. And there were a bunch of pictures from the game on Sunday of the stadium half empty. And I know, credit to him, Woody Johnson's done a pretty good job of staying out of the mix outside of saying that Justin Fields is the worst person he's ever met in his entire life. But he hasn't been meddling. I just wonder if Woody's going to see the lack of fans over the final month or 2 months of the year and go, I can't do this another year. You guys got to figure something out at quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, I can't even believe Woody did that. I mean, we are just I'll tell you, man, this season has been crazy.
It feels like so long ago.
It feels like years ago, doesn't it?
Oh,
it's crazy. But Woody actually did that. And you know what's crazy? Because he was trying to like defend Aaron Glenn.
yes.
He was trying to defend Aaron Glenn, but he doesn't know how to do that without somebody else taking the heat. You can't just say like, oh no, I support, it's been tough. And I know he's having, whatever. He goes, well, look at the shitbag we have at quarterback.
Yeah, if we can complete a pass.
If he could complete a pass, oh my God, that's terrible.
Yeah, that was the beginning of the end for Justin Fields with the Jets.
Yep. That was about, no, he responded and had like his best game.
The Bengals game was right after that.
And that was it. That was all he had. Justin Fields is toast. They actually asked Aaron Glenn in the presser this week if it was such an interesting way that they asked it too. They said, now, like, so you knew Justin Fields, he was your quarterback, but are you curious to see what he can do now that he's had some time to sit and the offense has been able to perform without him? Are you curious to see what he could do now knowing that? And Aaron Glenn was like, what?
Yeah.
Like he made him re-ask it. And then he was like, dude, I don't ever look at it like that. Like, am I curious? No. He goes, I look at it during the week. Who's got the hot hand? Like, who's going to give me the chance to win? That's it. I don't know how many times. When is this press going to stop asking that question?
Stop asking him about the quarterbacks.
He's not telling you. It's just that simple. Oh, it's crazy.
It never ends. Ablab, speaking of Glenn, says Glenn shouldn't hitch his wagon to Wilkes, although it feels like he will, going back to our conversation from earlier tonight on Steve Wilkes. I put it at 60-40. Green Bean, it sounded like from before you were also thinking that Glenn might keep him around next year.
I know. I think so. I think I like Matt 60-40 is good. So what is he saying here? Glenn shouldn't hitch his wagon to Wilkes. But yeah, I think I want to believe that Aaron Glenn won't be impacted by emotions in any way. But I fear that there's going to be some of that stuff. I don't even know. I'm having difficulty articulating what I want to say here, but I think, Steve Wilkes being kind of the vet in the room, and he said how important he's been for him and how much he respects him. And all. I feel like Wilkes is coming back, guys. I want to believe otherwise. And I don't think it's a lock, but look, for example, we talked about the 21 points that the Miami Dolphins were able to put on the board real quick. The one run, the one I'm talking about, right, is kind of the centerpiece to that whole fucking debacle. 𝐒'Chan runs up the middle, and he's hit maybe, 5-6 times. There's 8 Jets that have a shot. They're all piled around him. They're on top of him. And then he just pops. He bounces off and rumbles for more. We end up tackling him at the 4-yard line or some shit. There's nothing Steve Wilkes can do. Everybody's in position. You can say, oh, he's got to coach him but dude, at that point, there's nothing that anyone can do other than the man who's played football his entire life and knows the only job right now is to get that guy with the ball and bring him to the ground, there's nothing that anyone can do except the gentleman on that field. You know what I mean? With their arms, with their hands on the jersey of the player with the ball. Nobody thought I should be the one to take him to the ground. They all thought somebody else was doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the pussy shit that I hate, and why when we talked earlier about like the revamping of the linebacker core, why it's so important to get like a snarling, just foaming at the mouth beast, because he sets the tone, number one. But if there's any chance of him making a tackle, he wants to do it. Like, he's the kind of guy that, and Ray Lewis was like this, Marvin Jones was like this, Mo Lewis, Kyle Clifton, Jets that we've had, Brian Cox, fucking Bart Scott. It didn't matter that two of your teammates were already tangled up with the ball carrier. If they were running, if Bart Scott's running over or Marvin Jones, they fucking leveled all three of them. That's the way it went. He made sure he went to the ground. He didn't like, oh, well, they got him, I'm going to slow up now. No, dude, he's still standing. The whistle hasn't blown, and they just creamed him. And that's the way it should be. And our Jets, they don't have that in them yet, which could be, that is coaching, but it takes time to kind of undo that and install that again. But like I said, Steve Wilks, there's nothing you can do at that point, man. There's nothing you can do when your guys are in position. They know how to tackle, and they're just not doing it.
No, and that's fair. And that goes back to, the talent issue and the deficiencies with the roster. And clearly there's going to be a lot of turnover, and I'm curious to see how much turnover we get and what positions they decide to go after in free agency in the draft.
Are you into 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐬 as a free agent grab?
I like him. I think it would be an upgrade. I've been talking more Alex Anzalone over 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐬. More so because I think that's the guy the Jets would target with the connection to Aaron Glenn. But 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐬 is younger, and you can maybe even argue a better linebacker. So I don't hate that approach at all.
Alex Anzalone. I'm going to look at his stats real quick. Now, do you like him, or you just think that the Jets are, God, makes more sense for them, like from their mindset?
I do like him. I know he's a little older. I think he's 31 or 32, but he's the kind of guy who I think you sign to like a 2-year deal and be like, you're going to be our defensive captain and get the ship going in the right direction with this defense, and show everyone else what an Aaron Glenn defense is supposed to look like.
See, that makes sense to me too, man. Like, Aaron Glenn didn't bring any guys with him, which was weird, right? Is there one that he brought that was like one of his guys?
Not on defense. The only one that was Josh Reynolds was really the only Detroit guy that came along.
Yeah, it's kind of, I would think, what do you think about this too? Like if, and I don't know if it'll happen or whatever, but what do you think of like, if the defense sputters again, like this first half, we're playing the Jaguars, who, by the way, right, that's who we play this week, I think, right?
Yes,
Jags.
Jackson. Mm-hmm.
There's real potential for them to blow it open too early on us. You know what I mean? Like, really, and would be a positive for Aaron Glenn to kind of say, hey, I'm going to call the defense. Are you there? Am I here?
You're freezing up on me a little bit, but I think I got the gist of it. Essentially saying that if the Jaguars get out to a bigger lead, that you're able to have Aaron Glenn jump in and start to take over the defense.
Yeah. Like, do you think he would? And if he did, is it a positive?
I think it would be a positive towards this being the end of the line for Steve Wilks. I don't know if it's a long-term positive, but it might be showing the end of the line for Wilks as the DC.
Okay. Yeah. Matt, give me a second here. I see what I have an issue here.
Okay.
Just give me a sec. Give me like 30 seconds.
No problem. I'll
Right.
go to the next super chat and I'll talk about it. Joe the Jet says, do you think the Raiders get the number 1 pick? I think they do have a really good chance to get the number 1 pick. They are right now 2-11, sitting at the number 2 pick, and they play the Giants, who have the number 1 pick. That's their easiest game. They have at Philly, at Houston. I think Philly and Houston wipe the floor with them, and then they close against Kansas City. And I know Kansas City hasn't been great this year, but I still think that, those are 3 losses. I think the Giants, they're not a good team, clearly, as they have the number 1 pick and they're 2-11, but at least they're a little bit more feisty. Like, the Raiders just look completely shot. And unfortunately, if the Raiders do get the number 1 pick, then I think you could kiss goodbye the idea of trading up with them, because I think they would just stick and pick and take the quarterback in Fernando Mendoza. Jack says, good evening, lads. What would you be willing to give to trade up to the number 1 pick? I don't really want him, but also want to hold on to draft picks. So we talked about this one earlier, and thank you, Jack, for the super chat. I would be willing to give up the pick swap, a 1st-round pick and a 2nd-round pick. And you could either do it as both 1st rounders this year and a 2nd next year, or you could do it as the 2nd this year and a 1st-round pick in next year's draft. If they view the 2027 draft as the better one and they want one of those picks, I would look to trade one of those, maybe not your own, but one of Indianapolis or Dallas at that point. Dano's been riding the Dante Inferno train. He said, I said it before and I'll say it again. Dante's Inferno equals us. So Dante Moore, Dano from Oregon, likes Dante Moore, who's also playing football at Oregon and is in Oregon. There's been really like a back and forth on whether or not he's going to come out and enter the draft in 2026. If he's getting word from his agent that he's going to be a top 5 pick, which I think he would be, I think he should come out. There were a lot of talks earlier in the year that the consensus was kind of that he was going to go back to school. I think it's better for the Jets if he comes out, because that either pushes him or someone else, a better player from the top 5 further down the board to you. I like Dante Moore. I just don't like him as much as I like Fernando Mendoza personally. Dano. Skellington Senior, thank you for the super chat, says the fact that we may go a whole season without a pick is truly one of the most embarrassing Jets moments of all time. It is unfathomable and remarkable. They had so many opportunities in this game to get their first interception. It was honestly ridiculous. It was ridiculous. You had Malachi Moore dropped one. Isaiah Oliver dropped one. You had I know it wouldn't have been an interception, but the backwards pass that could have been a scoop and score for Brandon Stephens. And you also had the Walker one that was right in his hands. That would have been a walk-in pick 6. He could have fell down. If he catches it and falls down, it's a touchdown for you. This is one where it's just like, I don't think the football gods are on the Jets side for that. For whatever reason, they have decreed that 2025 is the year the Jets go without an interception. And you watch like the Monday night game last night, and in the first half, both teams had 3 turnovers. The Jets don't have 3 turnovers on the year. And both the Eagles and the Chargers had 3 first half turnovers in that game. And Hurts threw another bad pick towards the end. I mean, he was horrible in that game. And to be fair, Herbert wasn't much better. He's playing with a broken bone in his hand, which may be a factor in that. But it's just, I don't know how this possibly happens. I really don't. I've never seen anything like it. if they go a full 17 games without interception, like that's got to be another reason for you to want to move on from Steve Wilkes. Again, not that like he's out there trying to intercept these passes, but someone has to be held accountable for this. No. Green Bean rebooted, so he's going to be back in a minute. In the meantime, I'm catching up on super chats. They were a lot that we haven't gotten to yet. I want to make sure we get to everybody. If you haven't noticed, Green Bean has the tendency to give very detailed and in-depth answers with each one of these super chats. So you're getting your money's worth, but we're just a little bit behind on that. Joe the Jet says Diego Pavia might be in the first round rise. I don't love Diego Pavia. I think for me, like if you're looking at a quarterback that's not one of the top 3 names who've been brought up the most this year, which is obviously Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, and Ty Simpson. I like Jaden Mayava from USC. He has a prototypical size. He's 6'4", 230. He's put up good numbers at USC this year. He's a bit of a gunslinger. I know like Dom C absolutely loves Mensa from Duke. That's another one. Maybe he rises. I don't think Pavia is going to make his way up into the first round. And there's still a long way to go. And maybe we do get to that point, but I'm just not there personally with him in particular. Sorsby, as from Cincinnati, is another one that people like. James is back with another super chat, excuse me. Says, hell, go former Jets all around. Snag Jim Leonard, snag Josh McCown, draft wide receiver Chris Brazzell in the round 2. His dad was drafted by us, and go wild. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Josh McCown's leaving for a lateral role. I think he would eventually leave for an offensive coordinator or head coaching role. And that was a name that was brought up a lot in the last cycle. And even earlier this year, when there was the fire Aaron Glenn train, people were bringing back up Josh McCown. I love McCown. I think he's a perfect quarterback coach. I think he's going to stay there in Minnesota would be my guess. Would I like him here? Yeah, I would like him a hell of a lot more than Charles London. I'll tell you that much. We talked about firing Steve Wilkes. That's another coach that I would look to change as well, would be the quarterback coach, especially if they're going to draft somebody. I would definitely look to move on from Charles London in addition. But the whole Jets wide receiver room, or whole Jets coaching staff, I'm in on. Green Bean, welcome back.
Yo, sorry about that, man. I thought I had it. I was like, oh yeah, this needs a little shuffle,
a little hard reset.
Yep. Yeah. Hopefully we're good. I don't know. I gotta think about this, Matt. The entire time that I've known you, the first, maybe handful of shows, but pretty much 99% of the entire time we've done anything together, I've been using this laptop.
Okay. Wow.
So it's getting there. It's like, buddy, 5 years or whatever it is, it's like, what the fuck you want from me? So getting old.
That's okay. He's had a good run. It's seen a lot of videos and streams come through. Not a lot of Jets wins that one.
No. It's been seen 36 states and has been on 260 roller coasters with me, but fucking hasn't seen 10 Jets victories. No streaks, no win streaks. Crazy.
It's really remarkable. Here's one from Eric that I want to bring up. Wanted your thoughts on a question that I posted to Ryan last night. If the Titans had a chance to draft Mendoza, would you trade for Cam Ward, a la Josh Rosen trade? Well, we know the Josh Rosen trade did not work out for Rosen in the league. And I would say it initially worked out for the Cardinals. They made the playoffs, I think, once or twice with Kyler. And for his first few years in the league, he was pretty good. I think the last 2 or 3 has been a little rough for him. I don't know if I want to take on another team's project. Do you have any feelings on Cam Ward, Green Bean?
No, it's a funny thing because I've been thinking all right, well, what would it take? What would they want for him and all that? Like, could you kind of get like a bargain, and go, bargain bin shopping, so to speak. Because he's still, he's going into year 2. Am I coming through okay? I feel like I'm still shitty. Am I good?
We hear you fine. Your audio is just very, very delayed from your speaking.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening, man.
Oh, you look, you're better now. I don't know if you changed anything, but it's starting to sync up.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully. Yeah, I had that happen the other night. Like I had a whole stream. I did like an hour and a half where my voice was 3 seconds behind my face. I tell you, that was always. It was like, it was like living in an insane asylum. People were like, dude, like people would try, like, they would come in, they go, what is happening? What is, dude? Like everybody, I think if I had 150 people in there, 90 of them brought it up. Like, dude, you're delayed. I'm like, I'm aware,
Yeah, we figured it out.
Yeah, hopefully I don't know, man. I gotta maybe do a whole clean. I mean, I don't know what's going on, I think, what it is? My internet provider, this Comcast, I think they're dropping the ball. Like lately, I've just noticed like my upload and download speeds are slower, even in the house. Like I was in a meeting earlier today, and I mean, I'm fucking 5 feet from the source, and they're like, "You're delayed, you're lag." I'm like, "Yeah, man. Like, there's no reason for this, So, anywho, I apologize. So look, the whole thing with Cam Ward, like if you can get like a bargain, he's still super young, obviously. They had a crazy shit show of a year over there. You can't put too much on him. I think he's had his moments where he's looked pretty good, but I haven't like really, zeroed in on him. So I'm not like paying attention week to week, what he looks like. But I think it's worth considering, but the thing is, I didn't love him coming out. Like, I wasn't like anti or any, like I was with Zach. Remember, I didn't like Zach. Remember that?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily feel like that, but I wasn't the biggest Cam Ward guy from the get-go. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd go that route again, unless it's like, look, we can't really like, we're out of striking distance for the 1 or 2 quarterbacks that we really like in this class, and you can get them for a bargain. Like, look, they really like Mendoza and they really want to shift gears and they're willing to give them to you for a second. You know what I mean? So, like, I would probably, I don't know, like a 2nd round pick, and you can't get your quarterback this way. It's like you can kind of forego this whole bridge quarterback thing. Like, you got a shot at a franchise quarterback, a young guy. If it doesn't work, you still got 3 firsts next year, that whole thing. I would consider it, but I just don't think that they're going to want to, because don't forget, even though they fired their coaching staff, it's still the same GM.
Yep.
This is his guy.
He's got to make sure, like, it would not be a great start to his tenure if we said, you know what, that number 1 pick we had a year ago, we're going to trade him now.
Yeah. So, and then isn't it the guy, this is Borgonzi, right? Isn't that his name?
Yes. Yep.
This is the guy that most of us wanted as GM because of his track record with Kansas City and all that kind of stuff. Most of us really liked this guy as a general manager candidate. So Muji, I don't know, man. Muji can't, dark horse. So far, I'm going to shoot real straight. I like Muji. I didn't like that day 3.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. A lot of question marks on day 3 of the draft, but the first 2 rounds or first 2 days, I thought he did well. And the trades, I think he's done a good job with too.
Yeah. So, to make sure I answer Eric's question, like, it's funny that you bring up Josh Rosen too, because obviously they switched gears from, but that was the same GM too. So they fired Josh Rosen, guys. If you don't know, the connection is that was Steve Wilkes. Like, that 1 year of Josh Rosen was the 1 year Steve Wilkes was a head coach. And that GM, I forget his name now, but it's right at the tip of my tongue. But he was an interesting guy because he was getting into trouble. He had drinking problems, and he had to go to like rehab and some shit. Like, there was a lot going on there. But that GM hired Steve Wilkes and picked Josh Rosen with their first, and was given the carte blanche, so to speak, to fire Steve Wilkes, get rid of Josh Rosen, They had the number 1 pick that year too. Or no, because the first Josh Rosen was the number 1 pick, but they had the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
They hired Cliff Kingsbury and used the number 1 pick on Kyler Murray. But don't forget too, Matt, it goes even a little bit worse. That GM, he offered Mike McCarthy full run. Like, think about this. The general manager, they wanted Mike McCarthy so bad in that hiring circle that they were willing to give Mike McCarthy final say on player choice.
Right.
So think about that. So Cliff Kingsbury, even though they did that whole thing, and then he was on record saying if he had the opportunity, he would take Kyler Murray 1 overall, and then the gods saw fit to put it that way, and he took him. But he wasn't their first choice. Mike McCarthy was. So anyway, the precedent for this happening does exist, but it is a really crazy situation. It was really unique in all of its variables. Steve Keim, there it is, Stud City. Thank you. And yeah, thank you. That's so good. It was going to bother me. I was going to look it up, but I'm afraid to look something up right now because I'll fucking add with problems, I can't. I'll have to look it on I could use my phone, I guess. But anyway, I don't know if it was like a bargain, Matt. I think I might do it. Like, for example, if they said you can have him for a 2nd-round pick because we're going to take this quarter, I think I might pull the trigger. What would you?
I don't think that's what it's going to be, though. I think it would cost more than I'd want to pay, which I think they'd want a 1st-round pick. Maybe not the first of the 2, like maybe it would be Indy's pick, but he hasn't shown me enough to make me want to move off of a 1st-round pick, to be honest with you. Like I said, he feels like someone else's problem. Let them try to fix him. I don't want the Jets to be the team that's trying to fix Scam Ward.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I do agree with that. I'm just saying if I would probably now if it was a 2nd-round pick, if they just said, look, we want to offload this guy and whatever, I would do it though, I think.
Blitz Crew says Justin Fields is a great football player, but not at quarterback, sadly. I do wonder if he could play another position, maybe wide receiver, milk thumbs. Well, apparently, Green Bean, there was a story that a couple of weeks ago, he had no interest in coming into a game in a non-quarterback as a starter situation because he was worried about soft tissue injuries. And then, funny enough, a knee injury popped up during the week last week, and he wasn't active.
Isn't that interesting? So what we're seeing is that 2 quarterbacks from the 2021 draft class are complete pussies. That's what we're learning. Zach Wilson. And now look, that story supposedly has been, debunked, if you will, about Zach Wilson not wanting to come in, but it did exist. And just like you said, this is I don't know, man, where there's smoke, so to speak, you never know. You got to at least look. But Justin Fields, this is what I think. Justin Fields, who has been a one read and take off kind of guy his whole career, this year with the Jets, he had that knee injury, but he also, if you remember this, he was getting hit. Like he would slide and he was getting fucking creamed and there was no flag. He was hit out of bounds where his head hit the turf really, really hard and there was no flag. I believe that shit affected him. I think that, he got rocked and there's some real concern. Don't forget, he's got the epilepsy background. He has that going and he has a real concussion where he's in the protocol, has to miss a week. And then he comes back in. The next game was the game where he slid and they fucking crushed him and there was no flag. I think that impacted him, man. Now, whether or not he feels like the NFL's not protecting him or whatever it is, I think that sometimes you just get that hit that makes you think, and like, it's like, with wide receivers, you call it, they get alligator hands.
Yeah.
Right. Or they hear footsteps. Like there are those plays, those situations that impact you and change you. And honestly, I think he's scared and not like in a, like all jokes aside, I think that he's concerned for his health. And like, he's not the same player that he was.
Yeah, no, I think you bring up a good point. I do agree with you. I think for whatever reason that has changed his mindset. He wasn't as willing to run as he was in like week 1 after that week 2 game against Buffalo where he got beat up. And I think we've seen it. And when he's a quarterback that isn't going to run as much and is really just a one-read guy, it makes it really hard to run an offense. So I don't. Do you think we see him play another snap for the Jets? That's my question for you.
Oof. You know, I don't think so, man. I think, like, look, if Tyrod Taylor is really hurt, like he can't come in, which I hope this is quelling all the bullshit that I was hearing 2 weeks ago about re-signing Tyrod Taylor as like the long-term backup and maybe even bridge. You can't do it, dude. No. Like, I'm pretty done with that. I mean, and I like him, and I even like his game enough.
Me too.
You know, as a backup and all that. I don't have any, stones to throw at him other than the injury thing, but it's just like, this is no way to live, man. Like, your quarterback goes down, your backup comes in, but he's got an injury history and he plays a couple games, and then, you got to deal with this bullshit. And this is what the Giants dealt with. They hated it. I remember I have Giant fan friends, as we all do, and my family, they fucking hated it. This guy's he's never healthy, You're always worried that he's going to. So anyway, if Tyrod is really hurt and can't play, I think Justin Fields has to be the number 2. And then we're just, other than that situation, if Cook, takes a hit and he's got to come out, Justin Fields is going to go in. But other than that, I would say no. I think that Aaron Glenn has seen all he needs to see. I don't think there's any wonder, like when they asked him, are you curious to see? And the answer is no, dude. I saw what I needed to see. He's not my guy. There's nothing doing. Like, there's nothing to evaluate. There's nothing to check on. He doesn't give me the best chance to win, evidenced by numerous games with like less than fucking 50 yards passing. Like, think about this. As bad as Brady Cook's game was, and like, say what you want, again, two fumbles, 2 end zone interceptions, and 6 sacks. I don't care what you say. You know what I mean? I don't care. Whatever bullshit you want to add. He had a bad game, but he still threw for 163 yards when Justin Fields had numerous games where like 50. The fuck is that? I've never seen anything like it.
No, this season has felt like a lifetime. It's been a rough one for sure. Dante is up next. Says, for the Jets, would you consider pick swapping one of the first-round draft picks and also getting a third second-round draft pick, or getting back into the third-round pick? So essentially moving back in order to get more capital. I know you're always down for a trade back scenario.
Hell yeah.
My answer is going to be, it depends on who's there when you're picking. If there's someone that I really like, for instance, if they're not going quarterback, but if there's a wide receiver or a linebacker or edge rusher that I'd be interested, linebacker, I don't know if I said that or not. I might be repeating myself. I'd be interested in just taking that guy. But if someone offers you a good deal to slide back a few spots and you could pick up a third, which you don't have, I don't think it's the worst idea.
Yeah. So I love trade backs. I love more picks. Like, look, we have so many firsts the next 2 years that I think that should be part of our plan. Like, if the scenario presents itself, it's like healthy, it makes sense, we should try to keep this going. There's nothing wrong with having 2 firsts for the next fucking 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 years. You know what I mean? If you can figure out how to do that, like to trade back, keep doing that and acquiring a first for next year and just keep it going, having multiple firsts, I would love to figure that out. But you nailed it, Matt. It all depends on who's there. As much as I like picks, it's not picks for pick's sake. You know what I mean? Like, the reason I like picks is because there's the opportunity to get players. Like, that's what you want. So like, for example, if you're sitting there with your second, let's say the best case scenario as far as the Colts, I think, 12 their pick can be? I think it is.
I believe so, yes.
So let's say that from our end, best case scenario happens. The Colts lose out and we get pick 12 out of that bad boy. And at 12, somebody like Carnell Tate is sitting there.
I think you just take Carnell Tate at that point, right?
Yeah. You're going to have to really convince me that, your package has to be really sugary, really chocolatey for me to consider not just taking Carnell Tate.
Yeah. Blow my socks off kind of.
Yeah, man.
I like this one from JV Free. Awesome work, Matt. God punishing Green Bean. Great job.
Yep. God, he's involved, and clearly I deserve it, and worthy punishment. Yes.
The worst of the worst. Blitzcrew's back, says Jets have generated plenty of streaks, just mostly contained in fans' tidy whities.
Ugh, I'll tell you.
It's really unbelievable. There's still 4 games left. They play the Jacksonville Jaguars this week, and technically I think it's going to be Brady Cook's first start. I know it's up in the air, right? Maybe Tyrod Taylor's healthy for this game, but let's assume it's Brady Cook's first start. Unfortunately, this isn't a soft landing spot, Bean. Like, if you're hoping that this week is, it's a full week of practice with the ones and he's going to show you, they have 15 interceptions on the season. That's second in the NFL. Their defense does a really good job at creating turnovers. They're also, I believe, top 5 against the run. That screams not a good day for this offense to me.
We're going to get killed this week. This is going to be one of those weeks where, being, fiery and competing, and that's going to be what we're looking for, I think. I mean, I think the Jaguars are in a position where they can take the division. They can, they're like in that fight. And we're in their way, and we're a team that they should beat. And they're coming in as motivated as they possibly could. And we're a team trying to find reasons to play hard. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like it's a recipe. It's a perfect recipe for a slaughter. Now, does it mean, I know the narrative's going to come, Aaron Glenn, blah, 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 lost the team, blah, blah, blah. I mean, look, we're going to play hard, I hope. I'd like to see tackling improve, because, look, that was a really powerful narrative for most of the season, right? The lack of tackling. Aaron Glenn benched the fuck is his name? Jamian, Jesus. Jets Chaos. We benched Jets Chaos. We bench Sherwood. He benches Quincy Williams. He trades Sauce Gardner and Quinn Williams. And then all of a sudden, the defense figured out how to tackle. It was amazing. Now, it wasn't perfect, but the narrative subsided. Did you notice that? We weren't talking about it as much. No. So that shows me 2 things. One is that the way he's addressing it had an impact. Number 2, that they actually do know how to tackle. And then the third part of this is, if they forget again, like they did in Miami, and that shit sticks, you're getting a real good crash course on who needs to fucking go. You know what I mean? Like, who's worthy of keeping, who's, who you want to build around. So I don't know, man. I just would like to see a game where our team is tackling, they're not getting pushed around, and that we might, that we can compete, that we can maybe score some points. You know what I mean? But other than that, I don't see us winning.
No, it would be nice to see if they're competitive in that game. I would take that as a pleasant surprise, but they're a 12-point underdog on the road for a reason in this game. No one's really giving them much of a chance. I can't believe we went this long on the show without bringing this up, but I have to get your thoughts because it does pertain to the Jets with the draft. Indianapolis bringing in Phillip Rivers, and Phillip Rivers potentially starting for them as soon as this week to play is, I've never seen anything like this. A part of me is a little sad that I can't root for this because of how absurd it is. We got to hope that it blows up astronomically, which a guy coming off the couch after 5 years to come back in the league at 44, who's a grandfather, by the way, probably isn't going to end well. But man, what a story. I can't get enough of this, Green Bean.
Well, I saw your video that you said, you're kind of bent a little bit. You're bummed that you got to root against it, right? Like, what a story. Comedically, I'd say I feel the exact opposite way.
Oh,
I just think that my whole fear is that somehow this is going to work for them.
okay.
Right? Somehow, and because the way that I would ingest that narrative is that once again, in the wackiest, most ridiculous way possible, the Jets get fucked. And so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, here we are, right? Like all the things we try to do to get a quarterback around here. And the Colts sign, the Giants cast off Daniel Jones, who looks like fucking Tom Brady for the most of the season, right? Like, oh my God, Daniel Jones. He goes down and they reach into the dusty old burlap bag in the back of the fucking barn and they pull out Phillip Rivers, who's a grandfather, and he comes in and he wins and our pick, and they get into the playoffs and our pick is 29 and I just can't do it. I don't want it. So I'm rooting for this to blow up big time.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that it does for the Jets' sake. I want that pick to be as high as humanly possible. I hope it gets to pick 12 or 13 or whatever it is. But when I saw that tweet on Monday that they were bringing him in for a workout, I had to read it twice to make sure that it was the real Ian Rappaport and not just some like parody account. Just again, absolutely unbelievable stuff. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the craziest thing ever. I mean, this is wacky, but it shows what's cool about it is this. When we traded Sauce Gardner, the whole thing, I just talked about it for a little while, but I'm going to do it again quickly, is that the whole narrative was the Jets traded Sauce Gardner for essentially what's going to amount to 2 late firsts. And then when our spin is, it's really just, it's like 2 seconds, right? That's what we're talking about.
Sure.
So what we got, isn't really as good as what it looks like, right? That was you remember all the shit that came, anything to make us look bad. And then on top of that, it's like, I never heard this crazy narrative as intensely as I did this time, but you got to hit on the picks. That's when you're like, no shit. Anytime somebody trades for picks, you got to hit on why are we beating this one? It's because it's the Jets and we want to fucking drive it home and make fun of us and all that shit. But what I think is so cool is that the Colts were in such win now that they thought trading 2 first-round picks, the next 2 years of first-round picks, and a kid, an uber talented kid that they just used a second on last year, that for a cornerback, not a quarterback, not a wide receiver that's going to put points up, but a cornerback, as good as he might be, as top 5, potentially one of the best in the entire NFL. That is all that being included. They were so win now that they mortgaged their. Could you imagine if that was the Jets? If the Jets if everything was the same and it was the Jets, the onslaught of negative reporting, it wouldn't be, oh man, because there's a lot of sympathy for Daniel Jones. Of course, but if it was us, the sympathy thing would be taking a fucking backseat by far. They'd be laughing at us. This is why they're the Jets. You never trade 2 first-round picks for a cornerback. You know it. Know it. So to me, it's nice.
I like that.
Dano, I'm well aware of the lag, brother. I don't need you to fucking tell me. Every other comment. Green Bean's behind. Green Bean's lagging. No shit.
Yeah, he's a little behind tonight.
I fucking hate it. I'm trying to fix it. I fucking talked about it for 20 minutes.
He's very upset about it.
Yeah, obviously it's aggravating. I'm trying to get through it. I don't need your fucking bullshit comments on top of it. Go fuck yourself and your beard.
Oh, I love it. Dante chimes in with the super chat. A hot button issue in Jets land and something we talk about, I feel like every week, but would you take Drew Allar in the 4th round? That wouldn't stop you from getting a quarterback in 2027. Too crazy? I don't think it's too crazy. I think if they got to a point where they're not taking one in the 1st round and they are going to want to take some sort of swing, Allar in the 4th is fine, I guess. I'm not convinced that he's going to be your long-term answer. I mean, if he regains maybe some of the stuff that he had 2 years ago going, there's a chance, but I wouldn't be like, oh, okay, they got Allar in the 4th. They don't have to worry about quarterback anymore.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you, Matt. I was too busy fucking thinking about what I was going to say to Dano next.
That's okay. I was talking Drew Allar in the 4th. Would you do it?
Yeah. I like it. Well, it depends on what we do in the 1st, of course.
Right. Like if they forgo quarterback and don't, haven't taken one at that point, just taking a swing on the position.
I think dude, that's the kind of thing. See, that's the kind of move. If he's there in the 4th, 5th round kind of thing, that's the kind of move that you love to take a swing on. This guy was considered a 1st round pick.
Right.
I would love the Jets to do something like that.
Yeah, like I said, at one point, it was considered to be a much more highly touted quarterback prospect. And for whatever, the injuries, the play that he had before he got hurt, was it him? Was it the team? The whole thing. But it doesn't stop you from then going quarterback in 2027 if they take Allar and he doesn't do anything for you.
Right. Yeah. And you know what, man? Like, here's the thing. Like, our opinions too on a lot of this stuff. Like, we're still in the season, So I know I speak for myself. Like, my opinions on a lot of this stuff is going to evolve and change and all that. Like, we're just getting started. And I've made it a point not to do it. Like, all the mocks that are, we're going to do so. Like, we were sick of mocks last year before mock season even fucking started.
Exactly.
Like, I can't remember the whole quarterback thing. By the time we traded for Aaron Rodgers, I was like, yeah. Like, I was already all quarterbacked out. I was done. Yeah, Derek Carr and fucking Jimmy G and all the shit we were doing. Like, oh, the Jets traded for Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, yeah. Okay.
And
yeah, I don't want to ruin the most fun time of the year because I can't keep my pecker in my pants. Like, there's still 4 games left. I still want to watch those and see what's going on and talk about all the shit that's happening in the Jets. There's press conferences. I want to talk about all that shit. The fucking Colts just signed a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers who hasn't played football in 5 years. That's what I want to talk about. We're going to do probably somewhere in the area of 25,000 mock drafts during mock season.
Give or take.
You know what I mean? Like, I have time. But so I'm going to figure out my quarterbacks and all that shit. I might come out of this and go, I don't want Mendoza at all costs. I mean, who knows? We got a lot of evaluation to do.
Yep. We have a lot of time to go. Here's a good one from South Dakota Jets. Although for the last couple seconds, it wasn't as fitting. It says, longtime listener, do you know Bean is lagging?
You fuck. That's funny. That's funny.
E-Boogie follows it up, says, old man Green Bean is back. 4-10, boys. He thinks
there it is.
E-Boogie saying they're getting a Jacksonville win. I would be pretty surprised if they went on the road and beat Jacksonville, although Jacksonville has played down to opponents at times this year. I'm not going to predict the Jets to win this game. I'm not doing it, but if that's the angle you want to take, so be it.
Yeah, well, you know what would be really funny if we do win? It would be it would make me laugh. Like, that's the thing. I don't think the Jets can do too much on the field right now to like really upset me. Like, Hey, look, Brady Cook is playing now. Let's watch him. First game, not so good. Does it mean we're out on him? I don't know. Was I ever in on him? I mean, that's the thing. He's an undrafted free agent rookie. Let's see what he's got. He came out. He fumbled twice in his first 6 snaps. He threw 2 end zone interceptions and took fucking 6 sacks. And okay, not a good start. Let's see what he's got. But like realistically, what do you, I mean, if we lose, great. It helps the tank. If we win, amazing. Let's have some fun with it. And holy shit, this kid, maybe he's our backup in the future. I mean, at this point, Matt, what am I really going to get upset because they're winning meaningless games? Like
I don't have it in me, Green Bean. And maybe that's just like fatigue. They've been bad for so long. Yeah. I'm just losing interest, but I don't have one of those in me where it's going to be one of those rants. Like the win against the Rams in 2020 was just a completely different thing that I will probably never get back to ever again.
Yeah, I could not agree more. That one was devastating. And remember, like, it was like the week before the Raiders game where Greg Williams decided the zero blitz and poor Lamar Jackson, our undrafted free agent rookie cornerback that they had out there covering Henry Ruggs, the fastest man in the NFL at the time. We're like, yeah, rookie, go ahead and cover him. He does a little double move.
It's all over.
Oh, scored that touchdown at the end of the game. Dude, I celebrated like we just fucking won the Super Bowl. I was like, I lost my mind. I lost my marbles because it was so exciting. And then a week later, fucking Braden Mann makes the tackle.
Open field tackles, baby, from your punter.
Braden Mann. But yeah, we had no business winning that game. But like your point is so good. Then that was so aggravating. I couldn't talk about anything else all week. That was the only, I couldn't believe it that we blew it. Trevor Lawrence, remember like you said, the fatigue, dude. I mean, what can they do to us at this point to hurt our feelings? If they're hurting if you're surprised, there's one of 2 things happening. One is you're new around here. You've only been doing this for 10 or 15 years or something. You're like, maybe even less. Or you're a complete fucktard. Like, I don't know, man. Like something's wrong with you. If you're of course the Jets are going to do the shit that makes, of course.
Yeah. Had to know it was coming. Had to know.
Yeah.
Charles says, do you think Mac Jones for a second and draft whomever falls to us? Take him? I don't know. If they don't work out, then we trade up next year's for best available quarterback at that time. I don't know. Like, just even starting from the beginning, Mac Jones as a bridge is honestly probably one of the better options. I don't know if San Francisco trades him because of the Brock Purdy injury history. They very well could need Mac Jones on that team.
Dude, Mac Jones, like, here's the thing, guys. Again, remember who we are. We're the New York Jets. Okay, so want to include this. Where he is succeeding right now is quarterback paradise.
Yes.
All right. He's succeeding at the place where Mr. Irrelevant is succeeding. That's where trading a pick. I see I'm lagging so hard right now. Trading a pick happening.
We were good for a while.
Yeah, we had a chance. Oh, well.
So what were you saying on Mac Jones?
I don't know.
Using quarterback. No. To answer Charles' question.
I'm just saying it ain't happening for us. We're the Jets.
Yes. Dante goes, remember when everyone was scared taking Sanders was going to cause drama because Dion, we were wrong. He has drama, but that's because it's Stefanski. Still too hot button of an issue for me. And he played really well this past week in their game. I'm not crying over not drafting Shedeur Sanders. Are you, Green Bean? Did the Jets miss out on not taking Shedeur Sanders at any point in the draft?
I'd like to have him right now. That'd be nice. But I'm with you, man. Look, and don't forget, Cleveland Browns drama is different than New York Jets drama, everybody. I was going to tell you a story. You know, it's a whole different thing. I want no drama. Going from Aaron Rodgers to Shedeur Sanders would have been a fucking train wreck. Not that what we're watching isn't one.
That's true. Blitzker's back in, says, need these games to figure out Mitchell and Mechie. Yeah, I don't think either of them looked particularly great in this past game. And that kind of goes back to our conversation from last week, Bean, which was the poll question, is Mitchell the Jets wide receiver too? I didn't think the sample size was big enough for either one of those guys. And what I think we're learning is that they are guys who you could absolutely roster, but I don't know if you want to rely on either one of those guys as your number 2 in this offense.
I can't. I'm sorry, Matt. This last 5 minutes is going to be brutal. You shouldn't even talk to me. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay.
I just switched internets. I have 2 internet. I'm just trying to see what my other internet does. Am I better right now?
I would say the same.
No,
roughly the same.
Okay.
Blitzkrieg says bring in Ruggs this offseason if he gets paroled. No, I don't want any part of Henry Ruggs. They need a real impact wide receiver that I would take on either day 1 or day 2 of the draft. That's where I'd look to find my wide receiver 2, with either one of your first round picks or at the top of the second round. I know that's one of Green Bean's favorite spots to find wide receivers is the top of the second round.
That's my spot. That's the sweet spot, everybody.
So how do we want to do this at the end of the show? We don't have Ryan here, so I can't do the spin wheel, but do we want to do a giveaway, Green Bean?
I don't think, I mean, I have names. I've been collecting as best I can in and out.
Okay.
But I don't know. Yeah, we could do a giveaway.
All right. So, how there's what 25?
Or
how many?
I might have missed. So give me the last 2. I have 23.
You had 2 blitz crews back to back at the end.
All right, so I missed one of them.
And Dante at 9:50.
Let me see. And they were after Blitz Crew? Dante's was after Blitz Crew or no?
His was
Dante Charles. Let's go with 24. I missed one in there somewhere probably. I have 24, and I have Dante and Charles and 𝐒𝐵𝐞𝐫𝐢 in South Dakota. So I missed somebody in the middle, but my bad.
What we're going to do, I'm going to say we're going to give a t-shirt away, and I'm going to pull up one of those random number generators, and I'll hit it 3 times in winner number 3. So it's 1 through 24 is what we're doing here. Here, let's share my screen so we know we're not cheating. We're going to try to make this as less rigged as humanly possible. All right, 1 through 24. 1, 2, and come on, click it again. Number 3 is 20. Who is number 20 on our list?
20 is 𝐒𝐵𝐞𝐫𝐢 tonight.
𝐒𝐵OOGIE. Send an email to Ryan, Jets Talk 24/7. You won a Talkin' Jets t-shirt. Thank you to everyone for hanging out. Congratulations, 𝐒𝐵OOGIE, on that one. Green Bean, are we going to see you later? Are you doing another stream here tonight?
Yep. Because this wasn't painful enough. We're going to continue this fucking madness. I'm going to do a few things. I have some ideas here. I'm going to turn on my booster and everything. I just got to go into the house to do that. I have solutions. I'm prepared. So, we're going to do the After Hours Jets Fest. In the event it sucks, big fat balls, we'll turn it off early, but I'm going to do it. We'll take a swing and see how it goes.
I like it. I like that you're taking a swing. I'll be on with Jeremy tomorrow at 3:00 on my channel. So be sure to tune in for that. But that'll do it for us on tonight's episode. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm Matt. He's Green Bean, and we will catch you guys next time.
Just go somewhere else. I can't take this nonsense anymore. How are you going to blame the defense?
I got the pouch. Screw green bean. Damn it. But once you get to the sausage, I feel like we're doing some. Go Jets.
What would you give up to see a Jets Super Bowl?
All of my friends and family.
Hit those milk thumbs, boys and girls. Freeze run.
Hold on to your underwear, ladies, and stand by, bitches. It's now time for Talkin' Jets with your hosts, Matt, Ryan, and Green Bean.